Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, let's discuss loops in Python. So, what are loops and what is the use of loops? Generally, if you want to print something or if you want to do any task, if you want to do the same task again and again, so it's very difficult to do it manually, right? For example, if I want to print some statement, like if I want to print like if I want to print hello, right? If I want to print this hello for 1,000 times, for say if you want to print this hello for 1,000 times, so how can you do it? We can't do it, like we can't just copy and paste. We can't just copy and paste, right? For 1,000 times. So due to that reason, we are gonna use loops. There are two loops in Python, like while and for. So first let's discuss while loop. So I'm just writing while, and here you have to give some condition to be true. So if that condition true, then it enter into the while loop and it prints whatever inside that while loop. So I'm just giving let's say I have to print while, like I want to print hello for 5 times I have to print. So I'm just giving I less than or equal to 5, and you have to mention this colon here. Then if you just press enter, it automatically takes this indentation, and let's say I have to print hello. So here we have given a variable I less than or equal to 5, right? So before going to that, first we have to declare that variable. So I'm just giving I is equal to 1 here starting, and I less than or equal to 5, print hello, and we have to increment that I value, right? So I'm just giving I is equal to I plus 1. If you just print it, you can see printed the hello for 5 times. So that's how you write the statement in while loop. So let's decode this, how it executes this. First we have given I is equal to 1. So while I less than or equal to 5. So since I is equal to 1 is less than or equal to 5. So this statement is true. So it enter into the while loop and it prints hello. Then what we have given I is equal to I plus 1 means I is equal to 1, right? So it incremented by 1. So now I is equal to 2. Again it enter into the, like again it checks the condition 2 less than or equal to 5. So the condition is true. So again it comes into the while loop and it prints hello. Then again it increments the I value by 1. So now I value is 3. So 3 less than or equal to 5, true. Then it prints, again it comes here, it increments I is equal to 4. Now even the 4 less than or equal to 5, similarly it increments. And if I is equal to 5 here, like at last I is equal to 5. Now now it increments this I is equal to 5 plus 1. It means now I is equal to 6. Now 6 is less than or equal to 5. So this condition is false, right? So it will just come out of this loop. That's how this while loop works. Even not only this like I is equal to 5, and not only this I is equal to I plus 1 increment, you can even use a decrement here. So if I just mention I is equal to 6, I is, like I'm just mentioning opposite to what I have mentioned in previous case. I is greater than or equal to 1, print hello, I is equal to I minus 1. If I just print, like I'm just giving I is equal to 5, you can see even in this case you can just print hello for 5 times. So not only increment, you can even use decrement here. Even you can use while inside a while loop. So let's take the previous case, I is equal to like increment case. Like I am given print I while I less than or equal to 5, print hello. Now what I have to print is, again I'm using while inside this, and I'm just mentioning j less than or equal to 2. First I have mentioned this, and I have to print world here, and you have to increment this j is equal to j plus 1. You have to have mentioned, I have used j here, right? So you should define this j variable, j is equal to 1. Now the output what we want is hello. First we want hello, and 2 times we want world, and next hello 2 times we want world. That's the output we want, right? Now let's see what we get if we print. So if you see here hello and hello world we got 2 times, but next we got 4 times hello. We didn't get hello again 2 times world, right? So what's the reason for that? So let's understand this. So if you see here, first it will just check while I less than or equal to 5. I is equal to 1, so it true, it will just come into this loop and it will print hello, and again it will just check while j is less than or equal to 2, even that condition is true, and it will print old, and it will increment j is equal to j plus 1. It means first it will just complete this loop in, like first it will just complete this while loop, then after incrementing, like after completion of this, again it will come to the previous loop, right? So that's how it works. So j is equal to, it incremented by 1, now j is equal to 2, 2 less than or equal to 2, even that condition is true, again it will print old. Now it will increment j is equal to j plus 1, now j is equal to 3, 3 less than or equal to 2, now the condition is false. Now just it will come out of this while loop, and it will just increment I value, I is equal to I plus 1. Previous case I is equal to 1, right? So now I is equal to 2, now 2 less than or equal to 5, the condition is true, it will print hello. And now next, while checking this while loop here, now generally we have incremented j is equal to j plus 1 in the previous case, right? Now what should be the j? Now the j is not 1, since we have incremented in the previous case, we have incremented j. Now the j value is 3. Now if I just print j value here, you can see the j value is 3 here. So since the condition is j 3 less than or equal to 2, it will just don't print it, and since again it will come here and it will print hello 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 hello. So in order to print hello world, hello world, like if you want to print like that, just here I have initialized here, right? J is equal to 1. This is called as global variable. It means we can use wherever you want, you can use. Instead of that, I'm just mentioning j is equal to 1 here. This is called as local variable. It means we can use this j only inside this loop. So if I just mention here, you can see hello world, hello world, hello, like what the output we want, we got it. It means every time we loop again, it will just initialize this j again, j is equal to 1, j is equal to 1, again it will just initialize, so that we can get this. So that's how this while loop works. If we didn't mention this, for example, let's remove all these things. If I didn't mention this I is equal to I plus 1, like if I didn't increment, so if I just print true, you can see it prints the loop infinite times it prints hello. It means, I said you right, only when the condition is while this condition is true, it will just execute this. So always I is equal to 1 and always I, like 1 less than or equal to 5 is always true. So in that case, definitely it will just print hello for infinite times. Even not only this, even if you just mention just true here, even you can see even in this case the condition here inside this while is true. So that's the reason it prints this hello for infinite times. So if you want to interrupt this, you can just kernel and you can just interrupt it. And the next loop what I have to discuss is for loop. The while loop is used to execute a certain statement like repeatedly until a particular condition is true. But for loop works with some sequence. So let's understand how the for loop works and what's the syntax for loop. Like I've said you right, for loop used to work with sequence. So what are sequence? Sequence we have already discussed, like list or string or tuple. These are all called as sequences. So if I just mention some list of values here, 1 2 3 4 5, and if I want to print all these values inside this for loop, like all the values inside this list one by one, I can use like print a of 0 and similarly print a of 1. Similarly you can do right 1 2, you can do it right. You can access through indexes, you can print through indexes, but that's not the easy thing, right? So for that what we will do means we will just use for loop for that. So I'm just mentioning for I in a, I'm just using print I. So here I is the variable, so you can use whatever you want in place of I. Even you can use your name, whatever you want you can use. For x in a, print x. This is just a variable here. You can use whatever you want. For x in a, print x. If I just print this, you can see it printed all the elements in the list one by one. So what it will do means, for x in a, so a is list here, right? This is sequence. So for x in a, print x. First it will just go here and it just get this 1 and it will print 1, and again it will come, again it will just loop through this list, and again it will print 2. Similarly it will just print all the elements in the list. Even instead of this, you can just use some other string even, right? I'm just using Python. You can see even this is a sequence, right? String. So that's why it returns, it just print all the characters in the string. You can see Python, it's printed one by one. If you want to print some 10 numbers, or if you want to print some 100 numbers, you can't just print normally, right? It's very difficult. So even you can use this for loop to do that. So for that we'll use like a range of function. So I'm just using for I in range of function I'm gonna use, and in this range of function you can just mention what's the starting value and what's the ending value, how many steps you want. For example, if I just you mention one here, and I want to print like up to 10 I have to print, and the step is 1. Generally you don't need to mention for 1, the step 1 you don't need to mention anything, is defaultly it takes 1. For I in range 1 10 1, I'm just want to print I. So if I want to print first 10 numbers, you can see if I just print this, you will only get up to 9. You can see it just printed up to 9. So it starts from 1, it's just print up to this, like this 10 minus 1, it means the 9, right? So up to that it will print. If you want to print up to 10 numbers, you can just mention like up to 11, so that you will get up to 10. And even you can mention here, instead of this 1, you can just, if you just mention 2, you can just see it's the step is 2. It means 1, it will just print 1, and it will just skip 2 and it will print 3, it will just skip 4, and you can just, it will just print 5. So if you didn't mention anything, like if you just mention 10 here in this, you can just, if I just print here, you can see it started from 0 and it will print up to 10 minus 1, it means 9. So that's how you can use this for and range combinedly to print certain range of numbers. And even you can use nested for loop here, like I'm just using for I in, let's take for I in range of 3, and for like for j in range of 2, and I'm just using print I comma j. So if I just print this, you can see how the for loop printed it. So this for I in range of 3, right? So it will take 0 1 2. So first one is 0, so I is equal to 0. Now it will just come inside this for loop for j in range of 2. So it means in range of 2 we have given, right? So it will take 0 and 1. So now the j value is 0. So now I is equal to 0, j is equal to 0. If I just print this 0 comma 0, so that's how it printed this 0 comma 0. So again it will just come here, and again it will increment the j value, and now the I value j is equal to 1, right? I value is the same 0, so it will print I comma j, it means 0 comma 1. And now again it will just come here and check, it will just increment. So for j in range of 2, it will just take 0 and 1, right? Now the next case it's false, so it will just come to the main loop like for loop here, and again it will just increment the value. Now the value of I is equal to 1, again it will comes into this loop, again it will print 1 and 0, 1 and 1, again it will just come to this loop, again now after incrementing the I is equal to 2, again it will comes into this and it will print 2 0 and 2 1. So that's how the while and for loop works in Python. I hope you got an overall idea of this while and for loop. I hope you understood the video. If you understood, just like the video and share your feedback in the comment section. Thanks for watching.